All right, now, everybody. Quiet, listen to me. We're going to start a show. Now, some of you people have been with me before. You know it's going to be a tough grind, but we're going to have a show.
And hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone who's joined us today. It's our Big Friday show. I'm Mark. It's a pleasure to be here. It really is. And Albert is with us today.
Albert, thank you.
He has put together a magnificent Florida segment that does include nudity, everybody. So you will be very happy. That's right. And drunkenness, which is also a very strong Florida theme. And Kim is here.
Kim, how are you?
We're looking forward to getting right into things. We've got the Trump mugshot to get to, and of course his booking. You know, look, all the libby-libby-libs, I don't want to be thrown out of libby-libby-lib land. You know, I am a libby-libby-lib. I'm a law and order lib. But I think the mugshot and fingerprint thing, come on, dude. You don't need to do it. I mean, I don't think you needed to do it, but, I mean, Kim and I disagree on this, so Kim's like, yeah, you drag him in, you cuff him, you print him, you make him wait for his mugshot the way the rest of the prisoners do. All right.
I mean, far be it from me to dance on someone else's grief, but dance I shall.
Oh, all right. Well, you have it your way. You got your day anyway, so.
I did.
Michael Shure and Jim Avila join us in the second hour. They are, I think, such great minds on politics. They'll give us a little political analysis coming off of a week where we've seen the also-rans have a debate, the number twos. I mean, obviously, Donald Trump and the cult of personality around him has propelled him to great heights, but there is... should he falter, an opportunity for many of these others to move into the top spot. And certainly there's an opportunity for number two, you know, to be second on the ticket, and also to be, should Trump actually prevail, I mean, assuming he survives and does prevail, their cabinet positions and that kind of thing.
Can I show it? Have we seen enough of it yet? 1
second before you show it.
I want to show. I'm itching to show it.
I know. Kim is really, if you hadn't noticed, she's having a day, you know, because of the Trump thing. And then Snyder comes, the culture blaster joins us. We'll talk movies. That's in the bottom of the second hour. So glad you could be here. I encourage you to smash the like button like a boss.
With your iron rod.
I'll also tell you that we are sold out on our Monday meetup, and we've got 20 listeners and viewers that'll be joining us, and we're looking forward to it. There are also going to be some visits. So Spencer Christian's going to join, and, a lot of your regulars from the show will be there. So we think it's going to be a lot of fun. And it's not because I'm still getting emails. I just want to say it's not our last meetup.
I've received a lot of positive letters.
People who want to join, and we might even reconfigure how we do it. So we'll do some raffles that was suggested by Lori in the chat. Maybe we'll make Lori in charge of the raffles.
She would totally take it on.
Yeah, nobody on the staff wants to. So, Lori, drop us a note at the Mark Thompson Show at gmail.com. And we'll put you in charge. Who knows? It might be the beginning of you being in charge of everything. So, all right, let's get started.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Booked into the Fulton County Jail. I mean, he was booked there, but he wasn't booked in. There is the former president. We'll put a lot of this aside to really chat with Michael Shure and Jim Avila about it. But there was in the chat, and maybe you feel this as well, sort of this feeling, don't put his mugshot up, it's what he wants. And now, of course, he is using the mugshot to fundraise. And it's a significant moment in American history. I mean, I don't think you can really downplay that. I think it's an important moment. And so this image is historic. Now, the reason I'm seeing, well, you shouldn't show it because he wants to get it out there. He's using it for fundraising. It's on T-shirts. It's on mailers. It's on emails. The feeling is it's a shot that shows strength, implies the political witch hunt that has surrounded him, all of that stuff. As you look at the mugshot, I don't see it as, I'm going to be, again, I'm honest with you. I don't see it as a bad shot. He doesn't look bad. He doesn't. He looks strong. He looks angry. I think, frankly, it's the shot he wanted. I mean, I'm sure he spent a little time in front of the mirror making sure that that's the look he wanted to. The guy's not stupid when it comes to marketing, right?
I wonder, though, if there were specialists that, like, worked with him on the look. Like, here's what...
Mugshot specialists?
Yeah, no, a little more with the left eyebrow, sir. No, a little more with the... If you could purse your lips a little more, that would be good.
Oh, God.
I was talking
I got indicted 4 times.
Yeah, indicted 4 times.
I was talking to former KGO talk show host Chris Merrill this morning, and he said, this, for the next couple 100 years, this is going to be in all the history books. It's a huge thing. So you can say what you want about, it helps his marketing. He can spin it around and use this as a campaign photo, whatever. But this is a history-making moment, as you said, Mark, and this is going to be, when people think of Trump, they're going to think of this mugshot.
I think they'll think of a lot of things. The mugshot is definitely one of them. It's definitely an inflection moment. I'm not suggesting it's not. But I'm just saying it's not a bad shot of him. I guess that's what I'm saying.
There's a level of passion that I've never seen.
I think that you do get the anger and you get the resentment and you get power. I think that's what he wanted to convey. Now, I'll tell you one last thing about the mugshot, because I got this morning from several people. Put it up one last time and I'll tell you about. The last thing I've heard on this mugshot is that actually he labored, it would seem, to get the camera slightly above nose level and chin level. Because if you shoot below nose and chin level, and those older boys and girls in the audience know where I'm going, you get that kind of you don't get this chin that you want. You get this area under your face and chin that's kind of less than flattering. And so it was suggested that he wanted that. You're sort of looking down at him. You see how the angle is cast slightly down? I mean, the guy's 6'3", so you can't get that downward angle unless you're really laboring to get it. And so it suggested that was deliberate. I don't know, but I love that take on it. He's taking direction from Stanley Kubrick with that stare. Yeah, the Stanley Kubrick stare, huge in Japan. And a quick shout from Return to Twitter, Embracing the Mugshot Narrative. Didn't have that on my bingo card. Yeah. Anyway, that's the deal on the mugshot. Well done, Mr. Former President.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Randy says, without convictions, this is all just talk. It's all just talk. I agree. Randy, I love you. But I have to say, it would be a long car ride with us together, don't you think, with you? I'm joking, but I mean, Randy always gives you the stern. What about nuclear? Well, the electric grid can't take it. You know it can't. And the gas stoves, it's totally ridiculous. Yeah, these vouchers are completely insufficient for the amount of expense you'll have if you got to replace your gas stove. Trump, yeah, this is all great. You can have your party, but if you don't convict him, it's nothing. Okay, dude, listen. Let's have a beer together and just chill out for a second. But Randy is right about so much, but I just love his attitude as always that. We haven't done enough, essentially. Lee Kopp. Come on, Lee Kopp. Huge shout out to Lee Kopp.
Receive.
You want to give him the rod of equity and mercy?
Why not?
We haven't done that in a while. All right. Well, let me just first let me give him a big shout out.
Big shout out.
Lee, $25 in the super chat. Congrats on selling out the meet and greet. Eileen and I had fun at the first one. It really was fun. And Eileen and Lee have been listeners since KGO, and they've been with us pretty much for every show here, and we'll miss them this time. There'll be more, and we learned a bunch from the first one, and we're going to make this second one, I think, will improve on even the first one, and then the third one will be an improvement on that. So it's so great to hear from you, Lee. Now, It's suggested that you receive because of your loyal. I'd like to, Albert, can we do it?
Receive the rod of equity and mercy.
You need to do nothing. You just to simply receive. That's all you have to do. You just have to receive. Again, you and Eileen.
Receive the rod of equity and mercy.
You only receive, and that's good for your entire life. It doesn't need a booster shot. It doesn't require...
What?
Yes, regardless of the variant, that rod of equity and mercy will be with you for life. Congratulations.
The Mark Thompson Show.
All right, what else is on the agenda, Kim? You're in charge.
I am? Oh, we have Jim Avila and Michael Shure. We have...
No, that's later. That's later. I meant right now.
Friday, blah, blah,
Fabulous
blah.
Florida, that's right. Okay, that's later also. Oh, my God.
And we have Snyder coming in.
Oh,
I mean,
God.
this is...
Yes, that's later also.
Whoever is producing this thing has no idea what they're doing.
The movement of people in California is to inland areas, away from the cities. Yeah, I mean...
What?
Yeah, it's away from cities where people are ripping stuff off, where the price of everything is high, where putting a roof over your head could cost you everything, and you may have to take even a second job to be able to afford it. And so inland communities in California are really getting the migration from city folk. Now, of course, it's much, much cheaper inland. It's also much, much hotter inland. I mean, anyone who lives in the Bay Area, if you live around the Bay, you know the Bay keeps you kind of cool. Similarly, on the peninsula, you're the same. Even San Jose, I mean, I get it. It gets warm, but, you get hot
the
days
glorious
there.
fog rolls in on the coast. So nice.
Yes. And San Joaquin County, though, is getting this, getting this movement of people. And the reality is that even though there is extreme heat and inland, that extreme heat will be most frequent. People are saying, hey, I don't care. I mean, it's at least affordable and we feel safer here. It's the second part that really concerns me. There's a video around of the smash and grabs that went down. Was that at Fisherman's Wharf where the smash and grabs were going down, Kim and Albert, and essentially nothing was done?
There's video of them. They smash vehicles, and there's video of them getting 2 or 3 cars. It takes seconds. They smash, they're in, they get what they need, they're out. I mean, it's crazy how quickly it happens.
Then the cops say, hey, we're going to do something about this, right? In fact, there was, I thought, a kind of, I want to say impromptu, quickly thrown together news conference at which the chief said, hey, we're going to double the patrols, particularly in tourist areas, and, we're going to put an end to this. I mean, it seems to me that news conference, they can use the notes from the last news conference where they said essentially the same thing, right?
You know what they said they're going to do, though? And I don't know if they said this before. They're going to put bait cars out.
Yeah, they did say that.
Little dummy cars, if you hit those, I don't know, alarm bells go off. I don't know what the hell happens, but apparently all hell breaks loose and you get arrested. That's the hope.
Well, my pals used to produce a show called Bait Car. It was called Bait Car. And it was really cool because, you're seeing bad guys break into cars. And actually what the bad guys do, and this is in the case of San Francisco and some of these other communities, but particularly San Francisco has been a high-profile place where it's happened. It's the smash and grab, right? They smash. As Kim says, it's all out in seconds. But in the other bait cars and in the bait car show, they were actually trying to steal the car. And the way those bait cars work is that they will drive for a few blocks and then the engine shuts off and the doors don't open. So it's a great moment. Oh, it's just a terrific moment. In fact,
let me out of here.
Albert, maybe you can rally something. The show's called Bait Car. If you, I don't mean to crash land it on you, but anyway, the point is you can find it. Everybody can find it. Just Google it. Yeah, Google it and you'll find it. But the reason I mention it is I think those are two different kinds of bait cars. Like that's the bait car, as I say, that you can rip off and drive for a few blocks. And then there's the bait car that I believe they're talking about in San Francisco, which is more along the lines of, hey, you'll break in and then the cops are going to bust you. Now, the problem is that after you're busted, something has to happen. There have to be legal repercussions for doing this crap. I mean, this is what I talk about when I say I'm a law and order lib. I am sick of there being no repercussions for this. This isn't some teenage, there it is, bait car. This isn't some like teenage fever dream where these people break in and, it's just, what would you call it? Mischief. It's not that. It is more on the level of mayhem, and it's more on the level of destroying a life in San Francisco. Our lifestyle in the city of San Francisco, in the Bay Area, and this goes for Los Angeles, Sacramento, etc., is being affected dramatically by this. And it's affected tourism. Talk to the hotel owners. Talk to store owners. It's awful. Yeah. There have to be serious repercussions for this crap. There it is. This is the video. It's just one car to the next. Checking out what's inside. Back in the car. This is a guy who was followed. And I say it's a guy. I think it's actually two guys. One's driving and the other's jumping out of the car, and they go and they bust into these various vehicles. He was followed. Here he is, grabbing stuff from inside and breaking into cars along the way, followed for blocks and blocks, and this is just what he was doing. I mean, he seemed to be doing it with just such a sense of immunity,
Seconds.
Yeah. So
that's how fast you can get ripped off. As I tell my kids, if you like it, don't leave it in the car. Take it with you. If you like it and you want to keep it, don't leave it in. You saw the first car he looked in, that convertible, they didn't leave anything in there. He didn't break into that one.
And here's where he's followed for a few blocks. It's just that I really think I guess if you wanted to be generous about it, or you could say, okay, first offenders, it's whatever, community service, home, detention, whatever. But second offense, I'm ready to put these people away. I really am. I'm just, I don't mean to, when I say away, I don't mean forever, but I'm really ready for there to be some kind of confinement associated with it. And I know that all my progressive friends are going to think I'm I'm sorry. I am law and order lib. You could put it on I really am. I think you can destroy cities and lifestyles, and you have serious repercussions on people who have families and are trying to just make a living in San Francisco. It's destroying lives there. I mean, you've seen some of these store owners, they're in tears. So again, these are two different things. The store owner breaking and entering and rip-offs, and then, of course, the smash and grabs that we're talking about. But I think in a way they all fall into the same category of lawlessness, and I'm just not cool with it. So now, the last thing I'll say about it is that it does apparently lead back to organized crime, that these aren't just, again, teenagers who jack a car and do this stuff. It is most of the time organized crime, and all of these stolen goods are then resold, and they're resold in a secondary market. And we've talked about it before, how oftentimes law enforcement is trying to go after that secondary market. But I'm just saying, this is a huge problem. It's a cancer of sorts, and it has to be cut out. So anyway, that's just a word about that. I was on the other hand, I was interested to see so many people moving away from the cities, and not just San Francisco, LA too. They're moving to the Inland Empire and into the deserts. Now, I think the biggest thing is it's just cheaper, but it's definitely hotter, and it's only going to get hotter. So, that has an effect on lifestyle too. In any case, that's a little bit of what's happening in our California cities.
The Mark Thompson Show.
LA listeners, by the way, they just approved a big pay raise for the cops down there. A huge pay raise. Cops, I think, in their second year, I'm doing this from memory, but I believe they're making $98,000 a year. Okay, that's before overtime. Yeah, I mean, that's a...
What?
Yeah, but I think you got to pay the cops. You're asking them to do a lot.
Yeah.
You're kind of asking them to take out the social trash, man. And so you got to pay them. I mean, I'd pay teachers and cops a lot of money. I think neither can be replaced by AI also. So, all right, Albert, what are we doing? We have Kim's News, and then we've got Friday Fabulous Florida. Is that the deal?
Yes, and it's kind of a jam-packed Florida. We have, I think, 9-10 stories in there, so we wanted to go a little earlier.
All right, cool.
Albert, thank you.
Today.
All right, this is very good. Albert was up early today, Kim, so he's not really chatty today because he was up early. Why were you up early, Albert?
I was watching the FIBA World Championships for basketball. Team Philippines played today. They are one of the 3 host countries, which was very fun. And we lost in front of our home fans, but it was a close game, and we were still in the group stages, so I'm still having some hope for my team.
Albert's into it, Kim.
There's a level of passion that I've never seen.
Hey.
There's a level of passion. I wish he had that passion for the show. He doesn't really.
I think he does.
But no, I don't think so.
There's a level of passion that I've never seen.
I would ask you this, Albert. Could you remark quickly before I go to Kim's News on the word about your boyfriend, Trey Lance?
Oh, Trey. Oh, my gosh. Brock Purdy's looking good this season. Trey will just he needs some time, so we're just going to shelf him for a little bit. He's going to get it together. And,
Feels great, baby.
When it's time for his name to be called, I'm sure he'll be ready.
Well, he may be ready and maybe sitting and waiting. I mean, again, he's been sitting and waiting and ruminating like wine in a barrel at Tenuta Vineyard for a couple of years. And
there's a couple fluky injuries in there, but it's just an unfortunate series of events for him. But
well, one of them is that he didn't play well, though. Wouldn't you agree? In this preseason, okay.
It wasn't very inspiring watching him out there this preseason.
Okay, and meantime, everybody's boyfriend Jimmy Garoppolo is there in Raiders silver.
He looks good
and
in the black. In the silver and black.
It works with his look. I completely agree.
Feels great, baby.
And I can't wait to see him.
We'll see if he could survive post Shanahan era, because that's what everybody was saying, that he was just waiting with he was a system quarterback. So we'll see if he works in a different system. I think
he's more talented than people give him credit for. But now he's getting a little older and he may be injury prone. But I don't know. I was a believer.
You might be distracted by the looks, Mark, but I'm not. I also find myself forgiving him a lot more easily than the other quarterbacks.
I might have been drunk on his look a little bit, to be honest. I don't know. But smash the like button like a boss.
It with your iron rod.
Damn straight. Smash that like button.
Smash it with your iron rod.
We're doing it live.
We'll do it live.
I'll write it and we'll do it live. Mark Thompson Show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
On the Mark Thompson Show, I'm Kim McAllister. Let's talk about President Biden. He is in Tahoe doing a little vacationing. And U.S. fighter jets had to intercept an aircraft violating the airspace near where the president is vacationing.
What?
Somebody violated a temporary flight restriction area near Lake Tahoe on the Nevada side. The North American aerospace folks didn't like that very much, and so they had to scramble 2 NORAD F-16s, a Coast Guard MH-65 Dolphin. This all happened early this morning. The military jets dispensed flares trying to get the attention of the pilot. The aircraft was escorted out of the area.
In this business.
They didn't get the attention. Did they get the attention of the pilot?
Oh yeah, they sure did. And he was escorted. He or she was escorted out of the area. It wasn't a good scene.
There's never been anything like this.
Well, yeah, that's a rough one.
What can you tell us about the scene?
We had to scramble the F-16s, Larry. Get the attention of the pilot, too.
What can you tell us about the scene?
Joe Biden is vacationing in Lake Tahoe, and apparently someone violated the airspace.
What can you tell us about the scene?
Yeah, that's all I can tell you. Back to you.
Word from the White House is the situation was resolved without incident.
No.
I think shooting flares into the sky and scrambling the F-16s is kind of incident, but okay.
Yeah.
Everybody's fine. No, nothing to see here. Move along. It's all right. Okay.
Well, I think what they were trying. You're saying that there was it wasn't an enemy fighter plane that was right, and so it was some a-hole who didn't.
Right.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, who wasn't listening, because they tell you this is restricted airspace, and before you take your plane up, you ought to know it's restricted airspace. So.
Yeah, I mean,
we have processes and protocols and standards.
Exactly, we have processes and protocols. Go ahead.
When I was doing traffic for KGO up in that KGO jetcopter, I'd like to go. They'd like me to go look at this freeway. There's an accident. And the pilot would say, sorry, restricted airspace today. Can't do it. They know. If you're paying attention, you know.
There's a lot in the Bay Area. There's a lot of that, too, because of military work being done.
I'll show this to you again. Former President Trump may soon have to enter a plea in the Georgia election interference case. He surrendered at the Fulton County Jail last night after he was charged for his alleged efforts to overturn the state's 2020 election. Atlanta prosecutors are pushing for the arraignment to happen the week of September 5th. Trump may be required to appear once again in person. Meanwhile, 5 more of former President Trump's co-defendants are turning themselves in to authorities in Atlanta. 17 of the 19 co-defendants in the case have now surrendered ahead of today's noon deadline. The group, which included former DOJ official Jeffrey Clark, surrendered at the Atlanta jail hours after Trump himself was booked in the Georgia election interference case. You just keep that picture up for the whole newscast, but I won't do that to you. I will dance with glee away from that picture. There's a couple of firefighters in Maui. They are speaking out about their efforts to save historic Lahaina town. This is Captain Peter Gand and tanker driver Cody Cordero. They told KHON, K-Honolulu TV, August 8th was the windiest day they had ever seen on Maui. They said they could barely stand up or see because of the force of the winds and the blowing embers. There's a search on for a missing pilot after a jet crashed on the Miramar Air Base in California. The Coast Guard, San Diego Fire Rescue Department crews still searching by air and by ground for the pilot of an FA-18 Hornet fighter jet that crashed on the Marine Corps Air Station Miramar Base. That military jet reportedly went down at about midnight last night in a remote area east of Interstate 15 south of Scripps Ranch. The CDC launching a sepsis awareness program to help hospitals improve survival rates. The CDC says 1 in 3 people who dies in a hospital contracted sepsis. It's a condition that requires urgent treatment to prevent tissue and organ damage and death. The agency's director, Dr. Mandy Cohen, is calling on hospitals raise the bar on sepsis care. It starts with early detection of
That's
that
not
illness.
fake. That's real.
It is a problem. I mean, it's really, to be honest, it's the thing that scares me maybe more than anything in a hospital, you know.
We told you yesterday about that shark attack in San Mateo. Well, that San Mateo beach is still closed because of it. State parks officials say Bean Hollow State Beach remains closed for at least a couple more days, barring any further incidents. Officials say a kayaker was knocked from the kayak allegedly by a great white shark as he paddled in the area earlier this week. The kayaker was able to swim to shore unscathed, and again, probably the fastest swim of his life. Officials say the shark sightings are common in the area this time of year because there's an increase in seal and sea lion population in the area, and those sharks are feeding. You don't want to be mistaken for a seal. San Francisco moving
Albert, you didn't play the...
Do we have a seal sounder?
It's mating season.
Oh.
No, you didn't play.
Right now it's mating season, and they're hungry.
Thank you.
Thank
Albert
you.
really is tired today. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
San Francisco moving forward with a plan to upgrade its aging emergency siren system. Mayor London Breed announcing yesterday the city plans to prioritize upgrading its outdoor public warning system. Residents used to hear the siren system tests, but the system was shut down in 2019. There were worries that it could be hacked. Well, now the systems are back in the news after Maui officials failed to sound their outdoor warning system during that fire on the island. Mayor Breed said the Maui devastation shows San Francisco leaders' outdoor siren systems can save hundreds, if not thousands, of lives. The historic Hollywood writers' strike doesn't appear to be ending anytime soon. Thursday, the Writers Guild of America's negotiating committee told union members the latest contract offer from studios and streamers is neither nothing nor nearly enough. WGA and the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers reportedly had an unproductive bargaining session on Tuesday night. That's a bummer. It took a lot to get them to that bargaining table, so you hope for a little movement.
But it was a complete, I've been meaning to do this story, but we've just been so busy this week with a lot of political stuff and with Trump stuff and the other, indictments. But the reality is that was an end around on the part of the studio to announce the terms. They're at a negotiation. No one's supposed to be talking at all. The studio goes public with it to try to gain both sympathies from the public, but more importantly, to put pressure on the rank and file, on the rest of the writers to say, hey, this is our offer. We don't know if your union heads are telling you, but we're really, we're ready to make this deal. It's a real underhanded way that, in this case, management, producers, studios have taken their case right to the rank and file. It's not cool. And I think that, it's not in the spirit of good faith.
No, but did I hear you say Trump stuff? I think you said it.
Oh, and I said,
sorry.
Yeah, we were doing Trump stuff this week. That's why I didn't get to it. I see. Just any excuse to show them. Any excuse to show the mugshot.
All day long.
Yeah,
I'll be flashing it through the whole show. What? Trump stuff. Yep.
All right.
Okay. A man accused of stalking actress Drew Barrymore is facing arraignment today in New York. Police say Chad Michael Bustow was taken into custody Wednesday on Long Island after he was reportedly going door to door looking for Drew Barrymore. Super creepy. He was looking for her house. The Washington, D.C. area man arrested by East Hampton police on misdemeanor stalking charges. He's the same person who confronted Barrymore during a live interview in Manhattan on Monday, rushing the stage saying, "I need to see you at some point while I'm here in New York." No, you don't. Bustow reportedly has a past criminal record that includes stalking and harassment, and sadly, Drew Barrymore seems to be the focus of that. Lastly, a Louisiana man who was arrested for making a joke about COVID during the early days of the pandemic will be allowed to sue the police. Waylon Bailey was trying to be funny when he suggested cops would shoot the infected while making a reference to the Brad Pitt zombie movie World War Z. Well, the Rapides Parish Sheriff's Office raided his home without a warrant. Judges on the Fifth Circuit Appeals Court have ruled the post was constitutionally protected speech and the cops should not be entitled to immunity. So I guess you can make a joke about police opening fire and they don't have to come search your house looking for guns. I'm Kim McAllister. This is the Mark Thompson Show, crowdfunded, which means we rely on you. You can find us at themarkthompsonshow.com. The Patreon link is there, the PayPal link is there, and so much more. Again, I'm Kim McAllister, and this is the Mark Thompson Show.
They had to close down an entire radio station to silence him. And now, he's here. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Thompson.
I got indicted 4 times. All trivia, nonsense.
Let me just address a question that is on everybody's mind at home tonight. Who the heck is this skinny guy with a funny last name, and what the heck is he doing in the middle of this debate stage?
Well, I got news for you. I've been in the hallway. I've been in the West Wing.
For me, it's pretty simple. That's something a U.S. president can do with focus, and I'll deliver on it.
Well, let me explain it to you. If I can. I'll go slower this time. Now is not the time for on-the-job training.
I've had enough already tonight of a guy who sounds like ChatGPT standing up here.
It's our big Friday show. Welcome in. Mark Thompson Show with our crew. And a big shout out to Richard Dominguez. Come on for a quick 20. Richard, big shout out.
Big shout out.
In fact, I want to say thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
That's so cool of you. You know, we do depend on the audience to support us, so appreciate the super stickers, super chats, and all of our patrons Those who connect with us on Patreon and PayPal, very much appreciate that as well. There was another big story. I mentioned the one with the lawlessness and the movement of people away from San Francisco that I wanted to get to, and we just kept having to bump it. By the way, it wasn't just San Francisco, it was LA as well. But the other thing that happened, and it just happened yesterday, and I wanted to get to it, we had all the Trump stuff in such a big way.
Oh, Trump stuff.
There it is. There he is. Somebody said, please stop showing that.
Sorry, no can do.
Please stop showing that. Japan announced that they're going to start pouring that radioactive water directly into the Pacific. They have started releasing treated radioactive water from the Fukushima nuclear plant.
Is it still radioactive?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing about radioactivity. It'll always be radioactive. It's
You can't
like
just wash it out. Yeah.
It's like the rod of equity and mercy. It's good for life and beyond life. I mean, it really is. And so Randy may know something about this because he's a big nuke guy. And I'm not saying nuclear power isn't an option that we have to explore because I think at this point you have to break the glass and pull the lever. But look at this. State-of-the-art nuclear plant hit by a quake and a tsunami, and now you end up with open reactors. I mean, meaning you've got radioactivity spewing into the air, so radioactive you couldn't even bring in anyone to handle it. So they got robots to handle it, and the radioactivity was too intense for the robots to function. So now, sometime later, right, the water, and if you know anything about this stuff, you know you need to continuously keep water on these rods because they are so hot. And there is no way to filter out all that radioactivity. Now, they can filter out some of it, but radioactivity associated with this nuclear power plant is going to continue forever. I mean, forever is a long time. And this stuff will be in the environment and now in the Pacific Ocean for all that time.
Why are they putting that back into the sea?
There's no other place to put it. And even groundwater has been contaminated from under the Fukushima plant. So it's been around now for long enough that it's having a tremendous effect on all of, and there's no place to put it. They had built and put up these huge, like Olympic-sized pools to dump all of the water, but there's just too much. They just have to keep, at some point you have to take that water and put it somewhere, and that's what they've done. So they announced that they're doing it, and the international community is like, whoa, what are you doing?
No.
But they say they are going to dilute the water with seawater, dilute the radioactive water with seawater, and then this tritium, which is the part of the radioactive cast-off that they cannot filter out, that will be down to safer limits, they say. But again, safer limits is in the eyes of the beholder to some degree.
I mean, this is a country that, it has a rich fishing heritage, relies on, food from the sea. I don't know why they don't want to take better care of the ocean.
They have
fish with 5 eyes.
They have very few options at this point. I mean, again, they tried to filter it. They're doing their best to filter it. And you also have to take their word for the fact that they have filtered it down to these levels of tritium that they feel are less threatening. But there are already many people, both within Japan and elsewhere, saying we're going to stay away from the seafood that comes out of that area. So, but there are a lot of even environmentalists who say, or environmental scientists who say, well, if they're really doing that and they're filtering it down to those low levels, it'll probably be acceptable. But I wanted to make sure we got to it today. We can talk about it more maybe next week with Belinda. But I thought it was a big story. It just broke yesterday. So,
The Mark Thompson Show.
We like to welcome in John Daly for our Friday Fabulous Florida offerings. And hi there, John Daly.
Hello there.
John's got his own show now, the After Party Live, that he does with
I don't know if the United States has the moral high ground when it comes to dumping radiation in the area of Japan.
Ain't it true? Come on, and that's the sort of insight.
Just saying. You know, in the
will get
50s, they
from-
used to say the solution for pollution is dilution.
That's true. That
reminds me of the DDT story off of Santa Barbara, Catalina Island.
Thank you. And that had we had more time, I was actually going to mention the DDT thing.
But we have a packed. We have a packed
acres
show.
and acres and acres of DDT drums. We do have a pact, and I'm very happy about two things. Let me just quick before we get to Florida. They both involve you, John Daly.
Oh, I like it.
One is the show that you're doing with Kim, the After Party Live. And the second thing is that you will be joining us Monday for the virtual meet and greet. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
I didn't know it was 2 hours. I didn't know I was signing up for that.
Well,
but
you don't have to be
it's
there.
For a good cause. It's a good cause. It's a good
You don't
cause.
have to be there the whole 2 hours.
It's like a Biden, fundraiser.
Albert, exactly. Albert is going to like beam in from his side gig, or his main gig, I guess is probably what is more accurate. And so he's not going to be there for the whole 2 hours either. But it's going to be fun to have everybody swimming through it at one point or another. As I mentioned, Spencer Christian's going to come by, et cetera. All right, without any further delay, Fridays we like to feature news out of the state that serves up the wild, the weird, sometimes the depressing, but always the interesting. This is Friday Fabulous Florida.
It's time for Friday Fabulous Florida.
There is a gigantic alligator in my kitchen.
A look at the weirdest stories from our weirdest state.
A man charged, well, I'll just tell you his T-shirt first. I think it'll be better. A man wearing an "I'm the reason the beer's always gone" T-shirt was charged with, if you guessed DUI, yes, that's exactly right.
Very strong.
Deputies said he was driving almost 3 times over the legal limit. Does that mean his speed was over the legal limit? Yeah, it does. 89 miles an hour in a 45-mile-an-hour zone.
Well, the alcohol was probably 3 times over the limit as well.
Yeah, he probably was. I mean, indeed, he was a 41-year-old, identified as James Ricks Jr. He fled from the deputy, and then he turned off the lights. There's the T-shirt for those who may want to order your own T-shirt. I'm the
Somewhat
reason the beer is always gone. Yeah.
I found it on Amazon for $19.99.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Bargain.
What?
You may want to go for it. He
I guess
failed
you could call him
his...
a self-reporter, right?
Exactly. He's advertising. May want to check me for alcohol. The sheriff's office said that Ricks failed his field sobriety exercises and he was placed under arrest. And by the way, to John's point, he was pulled over for going 3 times the legal limit in speed, and in a sense of cosmic congruity, he provided breath samples that were 3 times over the legal limit.
There you go.
Very well done. Got to give the guy some credit.
That was just my bartender intuition.
Yeah, very well done.
He was rip-roaring drunk. It says on there the blood alcohol content was 0.204. Holy moly.
Hey, you got to lean into the party. You know what I mean?
There's a reason that this place is fun.
Right, the reason is the beer. A Florida chemistry student was caught on a neighbor's hidden camera injecting an opioid, quote, chemical agent underneath their front door, causing the family and their newborn baby to fall ill. Umar Abdullah and his pregnant wife, they move into their new condo in Tampa, Florida in June of 2022. Everything was going to be great. They're warmly welcomed into the residence and into the building and into the complex. But then Abdullah started getting texts from a disgruntled neighbor downstairs, supposedly this regular guy, but they got into a quarrel. After months of the quarrel, his wife and daughter, Abdullah's, start feeling dizzy and vomiting. He looks at his daughter. Her eyes were full of tears. She's very ill. And then he notices an odor that he describes as kind of this obnoxious, worse than nail polish remover odor. He called the air conditioning company. They found no problems. Then he called a plumber. They found nothing wrong with the plumbing. His landlord replaced the heater, and even the air ducts and vents were cleaned. Abdullah calls the fire department, but then it's this, caught on security camera. The neighbor putting some kind of chemical underneath the door. And
why would you do that?
Yeah, because
Officer Thompson, I think it's time to put him away.
Yeah, I think it's a sayonara.
Sayonara, sucker!
I agree.
I'm telling you. I mean, is he the downstairs neighbor? Was he mad the baby was crying?
Yeah.
Were they
He's
making too much
neighbor.
noise? Like, God, that's horrible.
I agree. They called in a hazmat team. They did the hazmat tests. A liquid chemical agent was found. It contained a combination of methadone and hydrocodone, both opioid pain medications. Lee, the downstairs neighbor, is listed as a doctoral chemistry student at the University of Southern Florida.
Not anymore, he's not.
Yeah.
Good day, sir!
Right.
Now
he's getting
a former doctoral student in jail.
Now he's going to get a doctorate in the law because he is being sued also in addition to the criminal statutes that he's obviously violated.
I didn't know that could work as an aerosol.
Caught in the act. Well, that's where the chemistry doctorate helps you.
Yeah.
Caught in the act. I think anything can be turned into an aerosol. Nude Florida man, everybody. Come on for the nude Florida man.
Bring it on.
Accused of trying to break into the Kissimmee homes one after another. He was arrested after trying to go door to door.
Finish the sentence.
After 1:30 in the morning. I mean, it was, I guess, after 1:30 in the morning, it could be anything, right?
It's almost like the alligator story, but a little different.
The caller to cops said that she heard a noise coming from her back patio door, checked her Ring camera to see a naked man attempting to open it. Well, you're showing the video now if you want to avail yourself of the same video that will likely be played in a court. The caller said she saw the man making obscene gestures toward the camera, like masturbating and bending over to expose his rectum.
What?
Wow. That is...
There's never been anything like this.
Yeah. 23-year-old Giovanni Alcaraz, everybody. He was your perp. He was wrapped up and taken into custody. A Florida man's traffic stop for illegal...
Well, they don't want his bare butt on the police car seat.
Yeah, you're right. They have to
gotta
put
wrap him up. Yeah,
like a towel down or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Florida man's traffic stop. Something tells me they have stuff on board. Those Florida patrol cars.
Nude man cellophane. It's standard.
It's not their first rodeo on that.
We're going to need the seat cover again.
Traffic stop for illegal motorcycle lights turns into a sizable drug bust. Who would have thought on a motorcycle that would happen? It started out literally as a traffic stop for illegal lights on the bottom of the motorcycle. Joshua Robinson is his name. He was arrested this week and charged with 3 felony counts of possession of a controlled substance without a prescription and misdemeanor possession of drug paraphernalia. There he is. Josh, not in his finest hour, not as good a shot as the former president provided. Robinson was pulled over after a Brevard County Sheriff's Office deputy saw him riding a motorcycle with blue lights shining from below. The 48-year-old man said that he recently bought the bike, didn't know he couldn't have the lights on it. Well, that's when the deputy discovered Robinson didn't have a motorcycle endorsement on his license either.
Oh.
Maybe he said, I didn't know I needed a motorcycle endorsement.
I'm surprised the sheriff has time to pull people over for that. They don't.
Yeah, it seems like it's sort of an action-packed sheriff's life. I'm surprised exactly. The lights would be an issue. During the search of his person, it was revealed that Robinson had syringes in his pocket. Oh, I didn't know I couldn't have syringes in my pocket.
As one does.
Plus a few other items stashed in those pockets, including meth, green fentanyl, cocaine, and other paraphernalia.
If you get them in order, you get extra points.
Yeah, okay.
There you go.
Meth, green fentanyl, cocaine, and other paraphernalia. Well, I didn't know you couldn't have meth, green fentanyl, cocaine, and other paraphernalia in your pockets.
Did you say green fentanyl? Is that
yes,
different
that
than
is
like blue fentanyl?
It's eco-friendly.
Yes, it's the preferred
sustainably
fentanyl.
Developed.
Yeah, right.
Sustainable fentanyl. Yeah.
Yes, ask for it by name, the green fentanyl.
Organic. It's at Whole Foods.
Weird monkey sightings spread across Florida.
What?
Strange things happening at fast food joints. A large monkey seen hanging out of a fried chicken restaurant in Florida. This sighting happened at 9 a.m. this week. I love it when Albert has curated stories from this week, and all of these stories, it would seem, are of the moment. This is about 30 miles north of Orlando. This monkey showed up at this chicken place. It's like a fast food chicken place. Orange City police officials say that it might be a member of this wild primate population in Florida. The population isn't known to live near Orange City, but Florida gators, pythons, bears, and crocodiles are notorious for showing up in unexpected places. And the one monkey, you see it there, that's kind of all over social media, might be one of them. A wild population of rhesus macaques was first documented along the Silver River. That's back in the 1930s because a commercial riverboat captain released about half a dozen on an island there to boost tourism at the time.
Of course.
It's insanity. People are so
stupid.
Anyway,
Say it.
they...
it's a wild idea, but it just might work.
The amazing thing is that they are great swimmers. And they jumped in the water, they got off the island, and now they're everywhere. So look for these various monkeys to show up perhaps in a Florida venue near you if you're down that way.
McDonald's, Jack in a Box, Taco Bell.
Apparently.
I'd go with the food
Well,
guys.
a Florida man now behind bars, and it's no wonder because he threatened to hit deputies with his walking cane while he was being arrested. I love the people who get aggressive with the cops. Like, you know.
That's a good idea.
It's just
go
so,
well, yeah.
it's so against the logic of the situation, you know? I mean, it's like...
what he's got going here is a situation.
How can you threaten to kick their ass? They're like four of them. They've got more stuff on their belt than Batman. And they've got two squad. It just...
Well, they might not be mentally stable.
There's that. Stephen Pechoric, arrested Friday, last week, charged with DUI. I think it's the DUI probably does it. 3 counts of aggregate. Again, not the same thought that went into the mugshot that, you know, the former president had. 3 counts of aggravated assault on a law enforcement officer, battery on a law enforcement officer, resisting with violence, felony criminal mischief, and resisting without violence. Well, they got him on resisting with and resisting without.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Coming and going.
I'm going to give him a ding on that, right. It was, he struck a pedestrian, or nearly struck a pedestrian on a bike with a trailer that he was driving. And when the deputy initiated the traffic stop, apparently it had no rear light either. So he had a near miss with the person on the bike, stopped the guy. The 61-year-old man from Bellevue grew extremely loud and uncooperative. Mm-hmm. The deputy smelled the odor of alcohol, of course, and saw what appears to be a beer can in the bike's upholder. I think that should be cup holder. That's what happens with AI. It's called the upholder, all right?
You don't even need AI for that. That's just news staff these days.
Yes, that may be. Just somebody in a hurry. Anyway, he agreed to a few sobriety tests, then he grew uncooperative, and he said, quote, "I have a cane and I will rip your effing head off." And that's when the game became a little less fun, and he was on his way downtown. A birthday celebration gets weird when a dead alligator starts moving.
What?
Yeah. What?
What?
Zombie alligator.
A woman celebrating her birthday with a drive past Florida's Lake Apopka saw a rotting alligator starting to move again. Closer inspection revealed the 9 to 10 foot alligator was actually in the mouth of an even bigger alligator. That alligator was dragging it backward across the lake. One alligator preparing to eat another.
This is very meta.
It's
Florida.
It's a metaphor for America, is what I see it as.
Right now, it's mating season, and they're hungry.
Yeah, here's the video if you're watching on YouTube.
Gator on gator violence.
It is really, it's scary. Look at that.
So it's supposed to be dead.
Nature is a cruel place. Right.
But there was something inside of it that was still alive? Or underneath it?
Florida's male gators are known to battle over territory and mates, and it was a turf war probably that turned deadly. One gator preparing to eat another. So the 9 to 10 foot gator was in the mouth of an even bigger gator. Yeah. Could you not see that in the video? I wasn't maybe focusing completely on it.
He kind of looked like he was underneath him.
Yeah, it looks like he's underneath him.
It's there.
He's underneath him.
You can see it right under, like you can see the snout right
on the right
where
side.
the tail would be.
Oh my God! Yes,
where the tail used to be.
Oh my God! Oh my God! That's
this is a winner for me. I have to say,
oh
I'm
my
early
God,
winner. Yep.
It's a winner to. It's just.
We don't like to call the results early. Kim.
I'm doing it.
Gonna have to count all the ballots again.
Oh, that's unreal.
This thing is rigged.
And finally, a Florida man flees, eludes arrest at church. I love it.
So I was going to say Hooters, but you say church. All right.
Well. Finally, church comes through for you guys. That's why you should all go to church for moments like that.
This is a word from the Lord, and he's not happy.
Yeah. A Florida man behind bars, though, spotted by deputies in a church parking lot, fleeing and eluding arrest, and then claiming that a cult told him to. Yeah. John Souza arrested, charges of fleeing and eluding a law enforcement officer. And in his attempt to flee, he supposedly ran a stop sign, ignored the deputy's active lights and siren, etc. 41 years old. He was read his Miranda rights. He agreed to speak to the deputy, and he told him that this cult told him to flee.
Is this different than the cult church story we already did?
Yes, it's different. It's a different guy.
Wait, so there's a different guy who also was told by a cult?
Look, sometimes the second time is the one you want. Yeah.
What the hell is going on in the United States of America?
Look, let me just say, it's a wild idea.
Wild idea, but it just
so many
I
churches,
mean, again, it didn't work once.
It's hard to keep track.
It lends some credence to the cult speaking to people there, right? I mean,
yeah, there's precedence for this.
Yeah.
My friend, I mean, the cults are real, my friends, and the church is real. Yeah. Yeah. So, your cult may vary. Now, let's just quickly go through them. We must pick a favorite. We don't want to pick a favorite, but the bylaws of the show require that we pick a favorite. Florida man arrested for DUI while wearing the T-shirt, "I'm the reason the beer's always gone." The T-shirt said those words, and he, of course, was arrested for DUI. Florida chemistry student caught on camera injecting the opioid chemical agent under the neighbor's door. Caught in the act, the nude Florida man going door to door and trying to break into a Kissimmee complex of homes. A Florida man's traffic stop for illegal motorcycle lights turns into a sizable drug bust with all the syringes and the meth. The weird monkey sightings going on. The latest at a fast food chicken place. The Florida man using his walking cane to threaten deputies during the arrest. "I will take your effing heads off." Birthday celebration gets weird when dead alligator starts moving. And a Florida man fleeing cops and finally being apprehended, saying that the cult told him to flee even though he knew it was wrong. Hard to pick a favorite. We are in the chat asking you, what's leading in the chat, please, Albert?
The zombie gator is in the lead.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kim influenced the vote there.
I did. I
Albert,
did.
thank you.
That is.
I'm sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
Kim, how are you?
All right. So, John, we'll start with you. What do you think?
I do like the nude guy going door to door because it reminds me of the gator going door to door. You know, like, do you have a moment of time to speak of our Lord and Savior?
Fabulous producer, John Daly.
Yeah.
I think I have to go with the zombie gator.
Zombie gator gets the first vote. Albert, what was your favorite before we get to Kim?
I saw. I kind of wanted to zag while everyone was zigging here and pick the awful story. It's the neighbor story because I read Karen Cooper's in the comment section. I like the bad neighbor, something new and inventive.
Yeah.
I'll go with that. I'm glad lock him up, but that's terrible.
I just have a hard time calling something like that fabulous.
Yeah. It's right, but it's it's part of the weirdness. I will give you that, the lawlessness and weirdness and
only in Florida.
That is Florida, yeah. And Kim, how about you?
I'm Gators. Sharon Kidd and I, the pride of Willits, we're going Gators today, Mark.
Gators.
Yeah.
Gator. I mean, that's very on brand. It's hard to argue with that.
Well, I mean, this is a Gator story I won't soon forget. One eating another? Come on.
Yeah, it just makes my skin crawl.
Yeah.
But it reminds me of YouTube hosts, the way they all, eat each other for audience. I, just for the pure bizarre quality, I go for the DUI guy who's pulled out with the T-shirt that says, "I'm the reason the beer's always gone." I'm sorry, everybody. I just think that's too strong. You can vote, and the Gator on Gator crime in Florida is the thing that's leading. And if you're watching in replay, which most do, please tell us. We always look at the comments, and we always tally them up. So please tell us which one was your favorite. John, we'll see you on the After Party Live, which follows on the After Party Live channel.
Yes, at 105.
Yeah. And we'll also see you Monday for the meetup, the virtual meet and greet. All right. Fabulous
Have a great
producer.
weekend.
Yeah. Good stuff, John Daly.
Fabulous producer, John Daly.
Bye, John Daly.
Bye, John.
That's Friday Fabulous Florida for today.
I have to say, Albert outdid himself with this one.
Yeah. Like, hopefully I'm not really sticking the landing. I just ended the poll.
This has been Friday Fabulous Florida.
There is a gigantic alligator in my kitchen.
Y'all come back now here.
So what I'd like to do, Albert, is and Kim, is do a supersized newscast bottom of the hour.
Okay.
Talk to Avila, Shure if he makes it. And we'll get into things in minutes. Smash the like button like a boss.
Smash it with your iron rod.
Yeah, smash it with your iron rod. Give it a run. And Jim Avila and the Week in Politics next. Mark Thompson Show.
What he's got going here is a situation.
I got indicted 4 times. All trivia, nonsense.
Let me just address a question that is on everybody's mind at home tonight. Who the heck is this skinny guy with a funny last name, and what the heck is he doing in the middle of this debate stage?
Well, I got news for you. I've been in the hallway. I've been in the West Wing.
For me, it's pretty simple. That's something a U.S. president can do with focus, and I'll deliver on it.
Well, let me explain it to you. If I can. I'll go slower this time. Now is not the time for on-the-job training.
I've had enough already tonight of a guy who sounds like ChatGPT standing up here.
Hour 2 of our Friday show. Great to have everybody along. We will get into the Culture Blaster and all things movies after the bottom of the hour, also Kim's newscast. But right now, an award-winning journalist, so great to spend time with us. And I've just heard that he will join us for the virtual meet and greet on Monday also.
Good.
So you can ask your questions directly to him if you want to talk politics at all. Yeah, he writes a column now on media and politics, but of course he's an award winner with the Murrow Awards and all of the Emmys and Peabodys, etc. He is the former senior correspondent at ABC News. Jim Avila, everybody. Hello, sir.
He looks like the picture of summer. Look at him.
We are in Baja today.
Wow.
We're in Baja, Mexico. Hey, buenos dias.
It actually worked and everything. I was afraid that you were going to be without a guest today, but it's working. So
it's
cross our
terrific.
fingers.
Yeah, you
This is
sound
awesome.
better than you do when you're at your place.
Yeah.
Well, I'm at a 5-star restaurant that I'm about to go have lunch at.
Of course, you're a 5-star man, Jim Avila. I expect nothing
There you
different. Now, I want to ask you about a lot of stuff that went down this week, and I'm going to put the debate off for a second and talk about the news of the moment, which was, of course, the booking of Donald Trump yesterday. And if you can speak to the way it was, there's the booking picture. But if you can speak to the way it was done, and then so he lied on his. They kind of just do it. You can fill it out your own. It's an odd thing. They don't weigh you in. You just put your weight there. He had himself at 215, I guess. So
what I loved was all the pictures on the internet of people who actually weigh 215, like Muhammad Ali during his fight with Sonny Liston, 6'3", 215. Numerous NFL quarterbacks who were, in this great shape, and then you have the former president who is 215 or not.
So tell me, let me ask you, just because it was the booking, and I'm just curious what you think. Did you need to do that, or was that the theater of it all, where he goes in, he has the booking picture and the fingerprinting? I mean, that was a little bit of theater, in my judgment. What did you think?
Well, I think it allowed Donald Trump to capitalize on the theater of it and certainly make it theater. I mean, how many motorcycle cops do they really need to drive through Atlanta? There must have been 26 of them. It's probably an even number. And head of the motorcade. There was no reason for that. Did we have to really see? Did we have to have the press van live following him in to the courthouse? Probably not. But I do think it was important that as much of this as possible is televised, so that there's no chance of the other side, of the right wing, claiming that this is just theater, that it is just fake. This is real. This is a real thing. He had to go into a real jail yesterday. This is a former president of the United States who is being, is a criminal, is an accused criminal, and is having to go through the same things into one of the worst jails in the country, where it's being described, the smell is being described as intolerable, and he was being forced to go inside those things. So certainly I think those things are necessary.
Just on that point, I mean, if there's a federal investigation into that jail, it's literally inmates are dying from the conditions there, So
like one guy died, and they found his body. He may have been bitten to death by lice. It's just an awful place. So maybe there'll be some good out of this. Maybe we'll call attention to this terrible place where regular people have to go and stay.
The idea somehow that Trump capitalizes on this is something that you mentioned, and something else that is talked about a lot through all of these various indictments. He fundraises, and he seems to gain some power. Now, there's others, and you have made the point, I think, along the way that, hey, man, all of these indictments don't help you. After a while, they become baggage, and political baggage at that. And then there are parallels to, Adolf Hitler, who was in prison for a short time. And I mean, I don't, and then rose, of course, to the autocratic fascism that was the Third Reich. I see those parallels. I understand where they come from, but I think they begin to break down. But against that backdrop, Jim, can you calibrate for us exactly how all of this is affecting him politically?
Well, within his base, it's not affecting him at all. There's a new poll by Yahoo and somebody else, which does show him losing to Biden by 5 or 6 points now. So there may be some denigration of his popularity, but he still has a commanding lead. And there has been a few points lost in the Republican Party to DeSantis. And we have to see what the polling looks like after this debate. Should be interesting to see if anybody popped at all. But right now, it doesn't look like there's any at this point until he is convicted of a crime. And if that somehow happens before the the primary and before the election. It certainly doesn't look. It doesn't look like before the convention. Like there'll be any other candidate besides Donald Trump in the Republican side. The cast that we saw yesterday was not, or Monday was not thrilling. There wasn't anybody who really went very strong, in my opinion. There's a lot of people getting ink, but I don't think that they're anywhere close to getting Donald Trump.
Yeah, I want to get to the debate now. In fact, we got a big shout out to Kathleen Bryan. Thank you so much for the 20, Kathleen.
Big shout out.
I want to ask you about the debate because I did think that you saw some of the extremism on parade. You know, I'll invade Mexico was on day one and clean up the fentanyl crisis. That was something said by DeSantis. You heard Vivek very extreme on everything from Ukraine to it's hard for me to keep track of some of the extreme positions that Vivek had. I'll give you one of them, though, just because it's top of mind. The pardoning of Donald Trump, unapologetically carrying Trump's water. And then he said, and I made this point the other day, he was the greatest president in the 20th century. And then he didn't even check the fact that he's running against him. I mean, I made this point the other day. If you think he's so great, go, support him as opposed to running against. It was a weird, politics meets bizarre positions on major issues. Could you speak to the issue part of what they got to? Abortion, reproductive rights was in it?
Yeah, Vivek is supporting Donald Trump and is either running for vice president or there just in case there is a conviction and Trump goes away. He's trying to be the alternative. As far as issues are concerned, they continue to have a problem. Even the most moderate of them, who seem to be Haley, where she was at least moderate enough to say that there shouldn't be a federal law on abortion because there's not enough votes to pass one. So I'm not going to even talk about that. We'll leave it to the states. But the rest of them, the rest of them, including, especially, I guess, Pence, who continues to foster this fiction that Democrats support abortion up to birth, which is just not true, and it rarely happens. And it only happens, and when I say rarely, I mean single-digit times in this country every year, and it only happens when the mother is in danger, or when the baby is in danger, or there's some medical emergency. To claim that, as they continue to do as Republican talking points, that Democrats want abortion legal up to the time of birth is just not true. And nobody has advocated that. So on the abortion issue, that's a problem, and they have a problem with that until they abandon it. And I think that's what Haley is recognizing, is that until they abandon that extreme position, they are not going to win anything. It's not just they're going to lose the Republican, they're not going to lose the next presidential election. They're going to lose every election. And that's what's been happening.
That was even noted by Haley along the way. And Haley, as you say, comes across as the moderate in all of this. It's a weird thing in the Republican primaries, how you have to come out as more extreme than your opponent, it seems, to gain part of that constituency. And Haley seemed moderate compared to the other extremism on stage. But there was that weird show of hands moment where, DeSantis is looking around to see what the other, DeSantis is the leader, which is why maybe he gets a little attention on stage, but he's looking around to see, who else has raised their hand to pardoning Donald Trump. I mean, the question was asked, if he's convicted of the things he's been indicted for, would you as president pardon Donald Trump? And the hands went up, aside from Christie and Asa Hutchinson, right? And as I mentioned, and before the hand went up with Santos, he looked around to see who else had their hand up. It was a weird moment on stage, and I thought it spoke to that extremism that we're touching on.
Yeah, they all are trying to respect that MAGA core group that they don't want to insult directly. So they did take, what I did think was interesting is they did take an interesting position when it was asked whether or not Pence did the right thing. Almost all of them said that yes, he did, which I thought was a step in the right direction. Let's put it that way. And, so it wasn't just Christie and Hutchinson who were at that point alone in their criticism of Donald Trump. That was an oblique criticism of Donald Trump, and that's all that they will do at this point. The problem for DeSantis is that and they all are, but especially DeSantis, is waiting. They're waiting for the other shoe to drop on Trump. So they're waiting to see if he's knocked out of the race somehow, either by a conviction or by, finally the public sees enough and they start turning to somebody else. But they don't want to be alienating themselves from that group of voters, and so much that when he does do that, when he does drop out, if he does, that they have not alienated those people they need. So they're trying to straddle the fence here, and it's impossible. DeSantis got very little airtime, and certainly very little praise as being the debate winner. Vidal got most of the praise as being the debate winner, but I think that may have been only among the MAGA folks. I think in general, if for independents looking at that, if there were any looking at that debate, I think Haley was certainly the only one. If you're a born-again Christian right-wing nut job, then maybe Pence, who invoked God so many times that I thought he was in church. Those are the only two that really stood out. Christie, of course, continues to stand out with his criticism, but he's not getting any support whatsoever. And the rest of them, I could barely remember that they were there.
The debate format, as it's called a debate, we know we've talked about it before, it's a TV show, really. It favors people like Vivek, people who can speak well and confidently and don't know what the F they're talking about. I mean, Vivek is so shallow you could barely get your feet wet if you walk through his mind. And yet he speaks so confidently. And the favored situation is a format where you only have 60 seconds to speak because you only need to say something for 60 seconds. You need to show no depth. So say what you want in 30 to 60 second chunks, and he's okay with the back and forth. He's used to doing that, it would seem. And this pharma bro, all of a sudden, can seem like he knows what he's talking about. And the reality is he knows nothing about government.
Well, I think he was exposed pretty well by Haley during the Ukraine comments. She really jumped on him with both feet and did very well in knocking him back. And Pence as well, who said that we can fight for freedom in Ukraine and still be a world leader and still be working on whatever else they want to work on. In his case, it's the border. But at any rate, they, that was the case. Is that he was really jumped on and really exposed in his, as you say, lack of depth during that exchange, I think.
I lastly want to ask you what's happening in Russia. It's a bizarre story, and I don't know if it's made it down there south of the border, but essentially
we have
the head
newspapers.
The bizarre way in which this head of the Wagner army and Putin's foe, despite how he sort of lavishes praise on him over his corpse, Putin's foe goes down in this plane crash. And apparently there were two planes. I mean, this guy was not a guy who didn't take some precautions and didn't look over his shoulder. But Putin made sure that it would seem, I say Putin made sure. I mean, I think the evidence is just there in the way he was taken down. But I wonder if you could speak to Putin's increasing hold by essentially, this is tried and true, taking out his enemies, his political enemies.
Yeah, it's on brand. It certainly was no surprise to anyone when they found out that this guy who used to be his ally and his cook was shot down or blown up. There was an explosion on board, according to
Right.
U.S. intelligence. So at first they thought there was a missile, and there was some video that made it look like there was a missile, but apparently that was not true. The U.S. government says there was no evidence that a missile was launched at that time, and they would know if a missile, our satellites would tell us if there was a missile that was launched. So it does appear as though there was some like a kind of explosion on board, and he was killed, and that's totally on brand. I mean, I'm surprised he wasn't poisoned somehow. That's usually been the way that Putin has taken care of his enemies or put them in prison forever. But the problem with putting him in prison is then he becomes a martyr, and he's already pretty popular in Russia. So I don't think he wanted to do that. He wanted to eliminate him, and he did. And it puts Putin back in a very strong position. It was interesting, and I don't know why this happened, that right after the death, the murder in the air, Putin rushed back from where he was to the Kremlin. He doesn't live in the Kremlin. So, he rushed back it appears, according to some people who are Russia watchers, to solidify his position again and to make sure that his allies understand what happened and what could happen to them if they cross him. He's a ruthless guy. And remember, one thing, why this is important to us, remember, this is the guy Donald Trump says is a genius. This is the guy that Donald Trump emulates and wants to be. If Donald Trump could, he would eliminate all of his enemies in exactly the same way. We have to be careful of this. We have to watch this. Now, the big advantage we have with these right-wing nuts who are threatening violence is that they forget who has the planes and the tanks. They've got their AR-15s, but we have the government and the right side, I don't mean the politically right, correct side, has the big weapons. So go ahead and try it. Let's see what happens. That is, and that kind of violence thing is kind of fading. If you notice, there were about 15 people out in front of in front of the Atlanta jail yesterday, and it's gone downhill since. I think people, number one, they're afraid they're going to get arrested because it's been shown that they will be arrested and put in prison if they do something violent. That's a good thing. And two, I think they're losing interest in this. So I'm hoping that's the case.
Yeah, that's the other part of this. I don't think we're in general, a society and culture that is the kind of civil war culture where there's going to be violence in the streets widespread. I do think you can have one-offs. I think you're going to, I think that really is the kind of culture we have. But you're certainly right about the weak nature of the kind of support in the streets, in and around the courthouses and venues where Donald Trump has sort of found himself. So,
Marjorie Taylor Greene showed up yesterday in front of the Atlanta jail, and they chased her out again, like they did in New York. They were, the other side was yelling at her and taunting her, and she had to run away. So, I know that I'm overly optimistic for your taste, but I do believe in the American people in general. So I think they've learned some lessons.
All right. Well,
ma'am, I'm on the phone.
Okay, we got it. Jim, we love you. And who said,
"Ma'am, I'm on the
lovely
Baja before we leave."
Oh
there
my gosh! Wow. Yeah.
Nice,
pretty great.
Yep.
Tell them to prepare if Ron DeSantis gets into office. There will be an invasion, apparently.
There will
All
be an
right.
invasion.
There's never been anything like this.
The only thing that could have made this interview better is if Jim had a margarita in one hand. That's
That
all
is true.
I was hoping.
I
was like,
the
pick up a
restaurant
margarita,
hadn't
pick it
opened
up. No.
The restaurant
is
hasn't
not
opened yet, he
yet.
says. Yeah.
But I would.
All right. I love it.
Ma'am, I'm on the phone.
All right. How about it for Jim Avila, everybody? See you, Jim. And Jim's going to be Monday night with us, too. See you, Jim. Right on, my friend. Good stuff. All right.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Kim's news, and we will get into what to watch this weekend. Our big Friday show. I look forward to it. Can I just give a shout out to those who have thrown in? Going to miss your show all next week, says Beth Farmer.
Why?
Keep up the fun. I don't know. I don't ask a lot of personal questions, Kim. That's more your thing.
Where's Beth going? Beth probably going down to Mexico to hang out with Avila.
Let me just say, $50. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
That is really, really cool. Thank you, Beth. You're a great supporter of the show, Beth, and we will miss you. We really will. And thank you for the 50. And I'll give you in fact, I'll give you a
Thank you.
Give you the 4 thank yous. It's seldom heard 4 thank yous. Tom Gunn, how about it for a 10 spot? Come on,
Big
Tom.
shout out.
Tom's another one who steps up a lot. And appreciate the support of the show, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Cheryl for 10. But come on, Cheryl Massarelli.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. And a big shout out.
Big shout out.
Really cool, Cheryl. Thank you. And Kathleen Bryant, another loyal supporter. Wow. Thank you for the Friday super sticker. Big shout out. Thank you for the 20. And I'll give you a thank you. Actually, it occurs to me, everyone who's given us a super sticker and super chat, I want you to prepare to receive.
Oh.
Prepare to receive. You need to do nothing. I'm about
big.
to bestow upon you a lifetime of being cloaked by the rod of equity.
Receive the rod of equity and mercy.
That's right. You are cloaked in the protective powers of the rod.
Receive the rod of equity and mercy.
You need do nothing but receive.
Receive the rod of equity and mercy.
Well done. Well done. And thank you for your support. Now, and again, the rod of equity and mercy applies for a lifetime. You need no boosters. It doesn't matter what the variant is. It will apply.
That's not fake. That's real.
Endorsed by the doctor, the good doctor. Kim's News, and then the Culture Blaster blasts. Mark Thompson Show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Oh, yes. On the Mark Thompson Show, I'm Kim McAllister. Let's start with, you know where I'm going. Come on, here it is. Donald Trump's mugshot, the first ever for a former U.S. president. It was snapped last night as he was booked, later released from Atlanta's Fulton County Jail. Trump was charged for his alleged efforts to overturn the state's 2020 election. He was released on a $200,000 bond. The Trump campaign is now selling T-shirts with the mugshot on it for $47 with the words, "Never surrender," underneath. But wait, didn't you just surrender? I don't understand. Does not compute. The T-shirt's $47, by the way. This was the 4th criminal case brought against the former president this year. I will say this is kind of a merch bonanza. All of a sudden, this mugshot is on shirts and cups and everything. A lot of people capitalizing on the arrest and booking of the former president.
There's never been anything like this.
Well, there hasn't been anything like it. I can't blame him for trying. I mean, it's so unlike Donald Trump to turn something like this into a moneymaker for him.
Course.
But yeah, I guess the kids are eating it up. So go for it.
No.
$47 is what they're saying they want.
47. That'll set you back 47 big ones. Yeah.
Well, it is a long sleeve tee. Those are usually a little bit more expensive.
It says Trump at the neck on the back. You know.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I mean, again, Kim is a little more down on the mugshot. I don't think it looks bad. I think the guy looks pretty good, to be honest. Mm-hmm. And never surrender, a little off what happened since he did surrender.
Right. It's nonsensical.
But maybe it's, you think it's whimsical?
Nonsensical.
Oh, well, I thought you said whimsical. I like the whimsy associated with it, but maybe not the nonsensical part of it.
You know what else he did? He went on Twitter for the first, or X, as we call it now, for the first time since 2021. He posted his mugshot with a link to his website where he's selling the T-shirts. So that's.
Did you really just do that?
Yeah. Well,
yes, apparently so. Mm-hmm.
People got to know where to get it.
Yeah, this kiss, this.
I'm so glad you're doing this story. I bump this story every day. I wanted to do it. Tell everybody. I don't know that we've really done it before. Go ahead. This is a huge story within the.
Spain's government says they are now starting the legal process looking to suspend the country's soccer federation president. His name is Luis Rubiales. He has faced backlash after video, and here is the still of it, showing him grabbing Jenny Hermoso's face and kissing her on the lips while the team celebrated their World Cup win on Sunday. She had just been awarded her medal. He was so excited for the win, he grabbed her head and kissed her on the lips.
It was wrong, it was stupid, and I'm trying to be a better person.
I mean, he does need to apologize for this one. It was more than that. It was really gross. Yeah.
Nope. He says during an appearance on Friday, he called the kiss mutual and said he will not resign from his position. Hermoso,
he called it mutual.
Yeah. Like, oh, no, you grabbed my head and shoved me into your face. Hermoso, Jenny, the woman in the photo, responded to those comments in a statement saying at no time did she consent to that kiss. Dozens of Spanish women's players, including all 23 members of the World Cup winning team, have pledged not to play for the national team until Rubiales is removed from his position.
Wow.
Sayonara, sucker. You're out.
Man, that is
It was wrong, it was stupid, and I'm
that's
trying
not
to be a
going to
better
do it.
person.
He didn't say that. He wasn't apologetic at all.
Mm-mm.
That's crazy.
Sayonara, sucker!
He might be, how do you say it? Nos vemos. See you later. Adios.
Adios. Yeah, I don't know. I was talking earlier about whether things are culturally different. Because if you did something like this in America, you're out on your ass and probably the very next day. But in this case, it's taken a little while. That took all the women of the entire soccer team to say they're not playing again. And now there's a quote unquote investigation into the behavior. It's taking a little too long.
Doubled down, which made it a little harder. I mean, I think had he apologized, maybe he said, I just got carried away, whatever, it might be one thing, but he didn't. And it's interesting, culturally, I think the one consistency is that once the public outcry was there, that's when they responded. This actually happened like a week ago, or I want to say. I mean, it's been, in other words, bubbling up for a while, and then finally, when everybody came forward, it was really, they were left with no choice but to do something. And then when he doubles down, that really makes it hard. I think the culture is, don't they kiss on the cheek or do that thing on either side? Isn't that right, Michael? You're a big European. Yeah, it's on the cheek. Air kissing, exactly. That's what they do.
Okay.
And then the last thing I would say is this is for the older boys and girls. It's lucky that Richard Dawson wasn't the guy who Richard Dawson used to kiss all the female contestants on Family Feud on the lips. It was gross to me at the time.
Yeah.
But now it's really just wrong.
Yeah, no. Let's talk about Hyundai Elantra. They are doing a big recall, 40,000 Elantra hybrids to fix a problem with unexpected acceleration. That could be a problem. The company says a software error could cause the car to suddenly accelerate after the brake pedal is released.
Well, yikes.
It was wrong, it was stupid, and I'm trying to be a better person.
What's my car doing?
We really are sorry about the acceleration problem.
Understand. The recall covers certain hybrid sedans.
I stand corrected.
Model years 2021 through 2023, Hyundai will notify owners by mid-October, that seems like too long, to bring your vehicles into a local dealership for free repairs. Until
you can get
then,
there quickly. You get to that
leave a
dealership
little
real
room
quick.
Between you and the next guy, because you don't know what's going to happen.
My bad. I'm sorry.
My bad. Sorry, that accelerator. We should have worked through lunch on the acceleration.
Oops. Yep. Disney is, I should say Amazon is reportedly interested in acquiring a stake in ESPN. A report from The Information says Amazon's discussion with Disney are aimed at developing a full direct-to-consumer version of ESPN, but the talks are preliminary at this point. The report says Verizon has also been in talks with Disney about forming an ESPN partnership, something Disney CEO Bob Iger recently said is not a matter of if, but of when. So there could be
the thing about ESPN, the thing about broadcast, I'll just use the word sports, live sports. It's the last place, maybe not literally the last place, but maybe literally the last place. Certainly the best place for advertisers to live. So ad-supported programming, if it's live sports, you have no real problem with sales. You're not hit with the kind of problems that other broadcast and other media is hit with. Because you don't really have this attenuation of the audience, the spreading out across so many different platforms. Everybody has to go to watch fill in the blank, the soccer match that Albert watched this morning. Everybody has to watch the NFL on the platforms where the NFL is. So advertisers, and they have to watch it in real time. And so in general, I'm talking about. So it's a really good thing to acquire, because that's the one place where the old school ad-supported formulas will still apply. So I totally get the logic behind trying to build a bigger and better ESPN for the consumer, because I think that could be a pot of gold. So, no. And what is this, Kim? Are you muted?
Kim, you're muted.
Kim is muted.
My bad. I'm sorry.
Picture.
I apologize to the Mark Thompson community.
Yeah,
I was saying they might have to do some building here at the Pantages Theater in Hollywood. They had to cancel a couple performances of Les Mis because they had a fire there. It broke out on Thursday, described as a small fire, put out quickly. The theater, though, took some minor damage. It's such a pretty theater. This, again, the Pantages in Hollywood. Nobody hurt by the electrical fire that was started by a faulty transformer, and they're giving people refunds for Les Mis. But yeah, they're going to have to do some fixing of this historic theater.
Wow.
It was wrong, it was stupid, and I'm trying to be a better person.
That's from the electrician? Thank you.
Yeah. Speaking of fires, did you know that California firefighters have another tool to fight wildfires now? It is artificial intelligence.
Come on, AI. Finally something good out of AI.
CAL FIRE and the University of San Diego are collaborating on a pilot program called Alert California. The program relies on AI to monitor more than 1,000 cameras placed throughout the state that keep track of potential wildfires. The system can supposedly pick up any sign of fire, including smoke, and alert authorities. The program is being tested in 13 counties, including San Bernardino, that, according to a review by the LA Times, in 2 months, this AI system has alerted CAL FIRE to 128 incidents before human beings called 911. AI got it first. 77 of those were actually confirmed to be fires. So
wow,
128 incidents, 77 of them were real. See, my problem with this is, okay, what if we start relying on AI for this and we look away? And AI screws up, and then all of a sudden we got all these fires everywhere, and we're caught unawares because we weren't paying attention. We didn't have people in place to check.
Well,
but
I get it. I mean, there can be any number of scenarios that could lead to this. I don't mean to, but of course. But my problem with this is that's like saying my problem. No offense, but it's like saying my problem with the water and the fire hydrant there is, what if the fire hydrant's not on when we need it? Well, that's a different problem. That's a problem with getting water to the hydrant. In that case, there's a problem with the AI if somehow it fails you. But I get what you're saying, that you're somehow farming out something that you should have human eyes on. But if it's better than the human eyes, Kim,
looks like it.
Why not at least employ it as yet one more technology to potentially fight fires and anticipate fires?
It looks like it's working, and if it is
working,
working,
it may not be perfect, I guess is what I'm saying, but either is human intelligence. So, and it can do it while it's writing a Chat GPT script for the next superhero movie. So it can both anticipate fires and like crank out a sitcom spec. So,
your bags, yeah. The Los Angeles Times wanted to know how many shoppers are bringing reusable grocery bags to the store. The answer? Not very many of us. An unscientific visual review of about half dozen California grocery stores found 19% of customers were bringing the reusable bag into the store with them. Since 2016, when California banned the practice of handing out free grocery bags, stores have been charging 10 to 25 cents a bag and selling various grades of reusable bags too. This survey, again unscientific by the LA Times, contradicts data from Cal Recycle, which painted a rosier picture with its survey that was taken 6 months after the ban went into effect. It concluded 86% of transactions involved a reusable bag. Cal Recycle has yet to publish a follow-up study. So
let's do an unscientific study here. Kim, do you bring the bags to the grocery store?
Sometimes. I always have them in the car, and sometimes I walk into the store and forget, but I never get the plastic bag.
What percentage of the time would you say?
I would say it's 50-50, but when I get the bag, I get the paper bag. So it goes into the cardboard, the recycle bin, the green bin.
So it goes into the landfill or something that can be...
No, it goes into the green... You can put the paper bag into the green bin, and it becomes soil.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Come on.
Right.
Leave me alone. Offense taken.
Snyder, I believe you do take the bags into the store.
I do.
Yeah.
I am very diligent about it. I would say 80-20. 80% of the time I bring either a reusable bag or one of their old paper bags, or I just carry everything out there with my arms. I have 2 workable arms.
Kim, what would you say would be the percentage that Albert would be taking something to the store? I'm talking about
He's really young. He's an environmentalist. He's with it. I'm gonna say.
I don't know if I'd call him an environmentalist, but all right.
75%.
Wow, Albert, I'm going lower. I'm going to go way lower. I'm going to say that when you go to the store, you're more in the 50-50 category. What is the answer, Albert, please?
You're talking the percentage for me being an environmentalist, or me?
No, the percentage. I know you're not an environmentalist. I mean, that doesn't make you a bad guy, but I just wouldn't label you as environmentalist. I'd label you as a lot of other great things. But my question is, what percentage of the time do you go to the grocery store carrying a bag of some kind, plastic, a paper, a fabric bag, whatever? In other words, you bring your bag to the store. What percentage of the time?
I'd say 60 probably. I keep them in the car, and I also travel solo, and I keep them also with me, so that makes everything easier to have everything with. But mostly, if I'm here at home, I'm doing the Michael Snyder. I have 2 workable arms. I'm going to struggle my way to the car. I will shuffle around for my keys. I may put some items on the ground just to get my keys, but
Albert,
that's my number one move.
And I will confess, I think I'm really in the same category as Kim. I mean, she thought that I was making fun of her. Maybe I was, but I make fun of myself also. I think I have the stuff in the car, and sometimes I don't walk in. And rather than go back out to the car, I have these tons of these bags,
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll really rock the show, and I'll bring all the bags in. But sometimes I won't. And I'd say maybe I'm more in the 50-50 category. Yeah.
Last story, because I know we need to get to Michael Snyder. Scientists say they have fully sequenced the Y chromosome for the first time. That means they have new information that could give insight into male infertility and other health issues. The study, published in the journal Nature, fills in the half of the human Y chromosome that had been missing since the same group of researchers gave its first attempt 20 years ago. A co-lead author on the study said in a statement, "This is a really huge shift in what is possible."
Wow, that is big.
Yes. This report is crowdfunded. The Y for yes. That means that we rely on you. You can find us at themarkthompsonshow.com. Patreon link, PayPal link is there. Of course, the super stickers are open for business here on The Mark Thompson Show. I'm Kim McAllister on The Mark Thompson Show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Great, I loved it.
Step on Kim that way? That was outrageous.
We could try ignoring it, sir.
Morning.
You cannot say you love your country.
Where are my weed smokers at?
Stay at home and get baked.
I think we're losing control of this. We'll bring the Culture Blaster on in a moment. First, I'm sorry, Kim, that you got stepped on there at the end.
Oh,
Linda Gallieri, come on with a 20. Wishing you, Linda, you gorgeous soul, you gorgeous thing. I wish you a happy birthday.
Big shout out.
Big shout out. A happy 70th birthday. 70th birthday. Wow, that's really cool, I think.
Happy
70s
birthday,
are where
Linda.
the life opens up for you, Michael Snyder, at 70. You don't have any of that BS. You don't have to put up with youngsters. Now you're a senior. You've got it. Lean in.
Mark, I need you to get off my lawn immediately.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the 20. Linda Galdieri, and more than anything, sincerely from all of us, Kim, Albert, myself, everybody on the show, even the cynical Michael Snyder, we wish you a happy birthday. So, congratulations. Yes. And now, in honor of her 70th birthday, how about it? He comes and goes on a rainbow. He's the magical culture blaster, Michael Snyder. What's up, Culture Blaster?
Just call me the redheaded stepchild, beaten and thrown into the corner of the Mark Thompson Show. The very last seconds, those waning minutes of the show.
We're running behind, but you can take all the time you need. We'll lose Kim, but we'll continue on with you. Don't need to hold your report.
We'll
continue on as
there's
long
never
as
been anything like this. Since Trump has just spent some quality time at the Fulton County jailhouse Do you think any inmates tried to give him the rod of equity and mercy,
How dare
so to
you.
speak? So to speak.
I get it.
Oh my God! By the way, I forwarded you the hilarious Photoshop mugshots done by Happy Toast. You can find Happy Toast on Facebook and what have you, where he has put a lot of Trump's cronies in the guise of the various villains of the Batman TV show. Hilarious. And we waited and waited and waited till yesterday for, yes, the Joker finally made his appearance, Mr. Trump himself. Speaking of
it was the old Batman Joker from the TV series.
Yeah, it was so much the old Batman Joker from the TV series that they photoshopped a little Cesar Romero mustache on his upper lip. It was just genius, complete genius.
Tom says that waning is a ding word.
Oh, sure.
Okay. Hey, by the way, I've got some Cesar Romero trivia.
Oh, please. I love the fact that his Joker, that he didn't say ha ha ha. He said hoo hoo hoo.
Yes.
As I recollect.
Cesar Romero, question for you, Michael Snyder, who knows everything. Cesar Romero, born in this country or not?
I would say not. No, I would say yes. He was born in this country, and not only was he born in this country, they buried Caesar. They didn't praise him. He's gone now.
Oh, that's very, very good. Well done. And you're right. He was born in this country. All right. Continue, sir. Go ahead.
Anyway, speaking of mugshots, by the way, where's my official Mark Thompson Show mug, Mark? This is
one came
me.
in just yesterday. You were going to get one today.
Oh, excellent. So the weekend's new movies bring to mind the Greek master of second-rate drama, Mediocrities, because, oh my God.
I'm not so happy with them.
Things could be better, but let's get into it. There is some merit to be found, and if you know me, I'm always embracing the merit when it comes down the pike. We're going to begin with Golda, if you don't mind. Golda is a prestige mix of later life biopic and docudrama about the person who might have been the most beloved, respected, gutsy, and controversial prime minister of the state of Israel, Golda Meir. It's tense and tragic at times, the movie. It's a bit too stately and ponderous at others, but through it all, Helen Mirren brings gravitas and authenticity as Golda, disappearing into the role.
Gravitas, got authenticity, something else you said.
I don't know. Primarily, the movie shows us the elderly and ill Golda facing crisis after crisis from outside and within when Israel faces off against Egypt during the 19-day-long Yom Kippur War in 1973. And all the while, she's enduring radiation treatment for what ails her.
Wow.
To be fair, the movie seems more about the war than Golda, even if she's in the middle of things. It does have merit, though, especially regarding the depiction of the country's leaders wrestling with the moral dilemmas of war from the safety of a situation room, which is often the case with our leaders.
Sure.
Golda means well, the movie, and it has that fine-tuned and believable performance from Mirren at its center. But we learn very little about the how and why she became the leader of her country, or much about her personal life. And on the plus side, we get some scenes with Mirren as Golda engaging with Henry Kissinger, played by Liev Schreiber, who sort of gets the voice and demeanor, but never the girth of Nixon's controversial Secretary of State.
Henry Kissinger talk like that.
We should have had you in the role, Mark.
Yeah, I could have dubbed him.
There's another plus. Camille Cotin of TV's Call My Agent plays Golda's aide-de-camp. This is directed by Guy Nativ and written by Nicholas Martin, and it's an informative history lesson to a point. It's got some ticking clock tension as the existence of Israel is on the line. It has a kind of a gritty cinema verite look, and it has Mirren, who alone makes it a worthwhile watch. And again, she's totally Golda, nose and all. And you know about the Bradley Cooper, Leonard Bernstein prosthetic nose issue, right?
Oh.
Have you heard about this?
No.
Cooper isn't Jewish, and he's wearing a fake nose in the upcoming Bernstein biopic. And there's been a lot of hue and cry about this for some reason, but I haven't heard many similar complaints about Mirren as Golda. Maybe it's a matter of time, but all told, Golda strikes me as something that will play well at home when it becomes available. Again, it has merit. Right now, it's in theaters.
I have a question. This has come up in the chat.
Sure.
Is Helen Mirren the grandmother of Jennifer Lawrence?
I don't believe so.
I don't
That
think
sounds-
so either.
that
Maybe
sounds-
I'm misreading it. I haven't followed it
I
up.
don't
Jennifer Lawrence's grandmother says.
Maybe, I don't know,
I'll
aesthetically.
double check it.
I
I mean, I don't know.
Google it.
All right, we'll Google it.
Let's
Go
move
ahead.
on
Yes,
beyond the
please.
waste of time. Bottoms won't be for everyone, and it's a bit of a challenge to criticize. Basically, it's about two horny, misfit teenage lesbians and best friends, PJ and Josie, who are determined to bed two of their high school's most popular girls. Both of the coveted girls are cheerleaders, one being the girlfriend of the entitled Golden Boy quarterback of the football team. Set your goals high, I guess. I don't know. In order to lose their outsider status and, by the way, their virginity, PJ and Josie decide to start a fight club in the guise of school-sanctioned feminist self-defense extracurricular activity, complete with a teacher as an advisor. The idea is that a number of female classmates, including the cheerleaders, will join the group because there have been some off-campus assaults of co-eds, and this will enable PJ and Josie to get next to their targets. Their romantic targets, not their physically violent targets.
I get it.
Meanwhile, the girls are all pounding the hell out of one another, and that would be, by the way, fist pounding, although PJ and Josie hope that that's going to lead to the other kind of pounding. Bottoms is like the movie But I'm a Cheerleader, which some of you may recall, only with more slapstick that escalates into gleeful violence and explicit language. It helps that Josie's played by the comically astute and, I don't know, seemingly omnipresent Ayo Edebiri from FX's The Bear, and PJ is played by the antic Rachel Sennett, who co-wrote the screenplay of Bottoms with director Emma Seligman. Punky Johnson of SNL has some good moments as Josie's feckless mother. That's a ding word. And of all people, Marshawn Lynch, former running back, the former running back for the hated Seattle Seahawks, and more briefly the Raiders, plays the Fight Club's faculty advisor, and he's actually pretty damned amusing, especially in some end credit outtakes. And it takes a lot for a Niner fan to say anything good about Marshawn Lynch, which is why I said hated Seattle Seahawks. For those of you in L.A., oh my God. So it's sharply written and often funny in a very broad, anything goes way, and the actors are on their game, but it does go way over the top to a point where some of the ha-has feel a little forced. More frequently than not, the anarchy is bracing, although I'm feeling a little raunched out after Joyride and Strays. Perhaps Bottoms will do for lesbian teen rom-coms what Bros did for gay male rom-coms, and in any case, it's smack you in the face electric.
Wow. So I thought you weren't going to like it, but it actually...
No, it's in select theaters. Our LA audience members can check it out, and I think next week it hits San Francisco and other markets.
All right. Very good.
Okay, so moving along, has Liam Neeson gone to the action picture well once too often? I ask you.
Yeah.
And the answer is sure, but sometimes it's worth the trip. Retribution, the latest from Grandpa Sargent's set of skills, has its moments, but it does feel like it's a formula that needs some refreshing. Here, Neeson is Matt Turner, a self-absorbed Berlin, Germany-based financial manager of questionable morals who disregards his wife and kids until he's reluctantly driving his son and daughter to school, and he gets a call on his cell phone informing him that there is a pressure-sensitive bomb under his car seat. So Matt is going to have to do what the caller says or, kaboom. Instead of give me back my daughter, it's let me, my son, and my daughter out of my car. Anyway, despite the promise of the premise, this is pretty boilerplate stuff. I watched it.
Let me just understand this. The kids are in the car too?
Oh, yeah. He's driving the kids to school. They're in the back seat. His tush is on the trigger, essentially.
Okay.
Tush on the trigger was the working title of Retribution, by the way.
Come on.
Anyway, I watched it. I was somewhat diverted, but it needed better plotting, despite this crazy premise, more intriguing crises for him to face, and a bit more plausibility, since it's not supposed to be a live-action cartoon like the Mission Impossible movies. Hampering things, the character Neeson plays is kind of a sourpuss, and I know he oftentimes plays a sourpuss, but in this case, and his family is not particularly likable, so it's hard to invest in the well-being of any of them. It's up to the premise and plotting to make this work, but the setup and the execution of the requisite evil plan and how the villain expects to get away with it are singularly unimpressive.
Requisite.
It does feature Matthew Modine as Matt's business partner and Embeth Davidtz as Matt's wife. Nimrod Antal directed in kind of workmanlike fashion, but there's only so much Neeson can do in a car seat for almost 90 minutes. You know, when I sit in a car for 90 minutes, I get spielkas, as my grandmother used to say.
Well, I'll ding that.
Anyway, this is my idea of wait and watch when it streams, you know. So, Retribution, currently in theaters.
I have a Liam Neeson question for you.
Oh, go for it.
I've given you a Cesar Romero question.
Okay.
Now I have Liam Neeson trivia.
Shoot.
How old is Liam Neeson?
I would guess he's 70.
70, says Michael.
Maybe
Snyder.
71.
Well, what do you want, 70 or 71?
Or 72. I don't know, but this is a classic Mark Thompson time waster.
You need to pick one.
Mark, the clock is ticking.
I'll give you, this will be 20 seconds. I'll give you 20 seconds to guess. You've had three. You put 70, 71, and 72. Which one do you want?
I say 72.
Nancy says 68. 73 says Pauline. Russ says, Les Commentaires says 75. Wow. 70, says Russ. The answer is... I think he's 71. All right, moving on.
Is there anything more subjective than a sense of humor? But one person's lame is often another person's lame as well. And in the case of Vacation Friends 2, lame is how I would describe it. It's the sequel to the slightly more amusing comedy Vacation Friends, which was a relentlessly contrived slapstick, lowbrow buddy comedy with two mismatched couples, one uptight and the other kind of out of control, muddling through crazy situations during a tropical getaway and eventually warming up to one another. And now we have Vacation Friends 2, which is more of the same from the first movie. John Cena is again Ron, the muscle man park ranger, with the ditzy loose cannon wife Kyla, played by Meredith Hagner. And your pal Lil Rel Howery is back as Marcus, the button-down construction business boss, with the straight-laced wife Emily, played by Yvonne Orji. And they're thrown together in the first movie and now are presumably friends who are celebrating the wedding of Ron and Kyla, who, by the way, have a newborn being cared for by a male nanny who is a holdover character from the first movie. They're all at a Caribbean resort where Marcus secretly hopes to make a deal with the hotel's Korean ownership to construct a luxury hotel in his hometown of Chicago.
Sure.
Straight up, right in, no problem.
Yeah, no problem. You're there, make it happen.
Culture clash. Yeah, okay. Cena and Howery are so naturally funny and engaging that it's a pity. And the game actresses playing their wives are caught in another maelstrom of strained humor and ridiculous circumstances. And there is a new addition to the ho-hum hijinks. The great Steve Buscemi plays Kyla's career criminal father, who is planning to rip off a group of gun-toting island gangsters. I wonder whether a life-threatening situation will develop. I wonder. Anyway, if you're looking for a fun vacation, I suggest revisiting the National Lampoon variety.
Oh, sure. Yeah. You like those
case.
vacations better than this one.
Oh, considerably. Vacation Friends 2 is on Hulu, as is the first one. Caveat emptor.
Oh, caveat emptor, certainly.
One more quickie?
One more quickly, sir.
All right. Bank of Dave is maybe my favorite film of all these. It's another warm, slightly whimsical, feel-good British comedy. This one based on a true story, but it's also a movie of the genre that champions the ordinary Joes and Jills as they confront, I guess you'd call them the oppressive one-percenters. So there's not a lot of depth to it, but Rory Kinnear, who is great at everything he does, British character actor who occasionally takes a lead, he plays Dave Fishwick, a working-class good guy who's made millions as a van salesman in Burnley, Lancashire, which is a formerly thriving mill town that's fallen on hard times. Dave has successfully loaned scads of money to locals who have thrived and repaid him and want him to basically invest their profits. So Dave wants to start his own local bank to accommodate them, and this is something the UK banking establishment based in London and led by your requisite greedy banker, played by Hugh Bonneville, by the way. This is something they want to quash and fast, so it's up to Dave, London lawyer Hugh, played by Joel Fry, and all of Dave's family and friends in Burnley to fight back. Along the way, Lancashire's own superstar rock band Def Leppard gets involved. Really. It's a crowd pleaser, directed with a light touch by Chris Fogan, and of course it's elevated by its messaging, and of course Kinnear, as well as Fry. And as the lawyer's love interest, Netflix subscription owners, it's Phoebe Dynevor of Bridgerton. If you like Bridgerton, Phoebe's on board. As fluffy as it was, I felt my time was well invested in Bank of Dave. It's in theaters and streaming right now.
Love it. Quash is a ding word, I'm told. Okay. I will go through. Bank of Dave sounds interesting, especially when you consider the fact that it is based on a true story. British comedy with Rory Kinnear heading it up.
It's
a sweet story. I mean,
you know Rory Kinnear from Game of Thrones
Sure.
and Penny Dreadful and
We
Black
Need
Mirror.
Sweet and I Need Bank of Dave. It's in theaters. Vacation Friends 2 brings back all those kids from Vacation Friends 1, yet they've added the Steve Buscemi character, and it's a little bit too much. Michael feels it misses. Wait for it on streaming.
It's only on streaming. It's on Hulu. And Bank of Dave
Wait for it to not be available anymore.
Bank of Dave is currently streaming as well, by the way.
Okay. Well, you could have told me that.
I did, of course.
No, I mean when I said in
You
theaters.
were looking up Liam Neeson's age, I think.
Well, you know what? Maybe I was, Michael. Speaking of Liam Neeson, Retribution was the film that Michael just felt just left him without a good feeling.
Hungering for better Liam Neeson movies.
Yeah, he's got a special set of skills. Let's get a movie that actually uses those skills. Bottoms is the teen sex romp, it sounds like. PJ and Josie trying to get into trysts. They want their adolescent rolling around time. Michael didn't really like it.
No, I liked it. I didn't love it, but I did like it.
Okay, I'm sorry. So you liked it and didn't love it. Golda, the Helen Mirren champed movie about the Prime Minister, Golda Meir. He felt that there was so much there, but that they maybe concentrated on a couple of the wrong things, is what I got. A little too much war is what I got from your review.
That part is well done. You know what it was like? It was like the castor oil movie. You know, it's good for you, and there's certain merit to it, but the taste isn't always what you're looking for.
I don't want a signed reading. I like to, or signed viewing. I like to see it. But you felt it was, what, B-? What would you say?
Yeah, I was, because of Helen Mirren's performance, which is unimpeachably good.
Unimpeachably is a ding word. That is a great look around what is happening, Michael. It's hard for me to think that we got it all in the requisite time, but we did. And I am excited to also tell everyone that you will be joining us for the meet and greet on Monday.
I will attempt to in the second hour. I will be at a screening.
You'll be at a screening.
And then when I get out of the screening, I'm going to run to my car and I'm going to turn on Zoom and attempt to reach out to the beautiful people of the Mark Thompson Show audience.
I love that plan. We will have the rainbow ready. He comes and goes on a rainbow. He's the culture blaster. Michael Snyder, go Giants.
Go Niners, go Giants.
Niners.
Rock and roll, people.
Yeah, rock and roll. Rock it and roll it. Come on now.
The Mark Thompson Show.
We just got word that Vilma is going to be away next week. She's one of our most diehard viewer, listener, supporters. Next week, I will try to chime in once from Ireland just to say hi. They are 9 hours ahead of us.
Yeah.
I'll be gone all week. Wow. Well, Kim, do you think you have the personal charisma to make up for the fact that Vilma will not be here? I think you do.
I think I can try. I have. I will ask Vilma to send a picture, so maybe we can We can, remember her as she's making her vacation and spending her time away from us. Rude.
That's a great idea.
But Vilma,
That's
if
a
you
great
email me a
idea.
photo, I'll show it on the show.
Good deal.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see if there's anything else I need to do. Albert, is there anything else I need to do?
I believe we're all caught up.
Wow.
Awesome.
That's
on everything we had
Albert,
to
do you
do.
want to there you go. I thought we did a lot today. We reviewed once again the debate. We reviewed the booking picture to Kim's Delight.
Yep.
And we talked about the Republic and its future. Avila cruised through.
We had Jim Avila from Mexico.
Yeah, Avila from Mexico. We had a robust Friday Fabulous Florida, curated by the great Albert. So once again, Albert, nicely done.
Albert, thank you.
It had it all: nudity, gators, everything.
Alligators eating alligators.
And plenty of alcohol, too. Everyone have a great weekend. The after party live is next, as you know. I love an after party, and the only ones I attend are the live ones. We'll do it live.
We'll do it live. All right.
I'm
We'll
Shelley
do it
Stevens
live.
for the Mark Thompson Show. Bye-bye.
Smash it with your iron rod.
Smash it.
Out of time. Bye-bye.
Until Monday. Bye-bye.